Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Spice Vader. This one's just a quick follow-up on the third-party accessories for the Switch 2. We've given it about a month and a half, and some of these third-party manufacturers have come out with updates, firmware updates that'll work with the Switch 2. Here's an 8-bit Do Ultimate C controller. I showed this last time not working. I did a firmware update. Now let's see if we could pair it. Light is blinking. Go into pairing mode. And look at that. We have a paired controller. So some things are starting to work now. I'll demonstrate that update process as I also have the 8-bit Do SN30 Pro. Now if I hold Y and hit power, okay, it's cycling here. We'll go to controllers. And it's not being picked up by the Switch 2 over here. So we're gonna test things out, see if that firmware update will also work on this. I think it will because it said so somewhere. The other thing I want to do here is I want to check out this Anbernic RG P01 controller. This one's kind of neat because it comes with a dongle. Should support the Switch 2. It's got Hall effect joysticks and triggers and RGB lighting. Lastly, actually not quite lastly, but I've got this Switch 2 dock. And this has been popping up on my Facebook Reels like crazy. And I wanted to pick this up because it was only $35 on Amazon. Took a minute to ship, but we're gonna crack this open and see how it works. I mean, it doesn't come with a power adapter, but if this works out, that's gonna be a huge savings over the $110, $120 for the official Switch 2 dock, which at that point, you might as well just buy another Switch 2. Lastly, we're gonna bring this back out. The AVerMedia X'Tra Go GC515W. I showed off this dock a little bit ago, and it's kind of neat. Does some recording. I've come back with a U3 V30 card that's properly supported for the video capture mode direct to the SD card that the X'Tra Go can do. I did email back the guy that sent me this from AVerMedia about the making it a little clear on the packaging that you're gonna need a U3 V30 card to properly record. So we'll see if this fixes it. Anyway, this didn't work out with the Switch 2 before. However, AVerMedia recently had a video showing a firmware update that will make this dock compatible with the Switch 2. So we're gonna try to update this, see if we can capture some footage directly and also get it to output to a monitor. Because if this works as a dock as well, that's also gonna save us some money. Let's dive into it. We already know, we just established that this works. So we'll check that off. Let's try the RG P01. I've been wanting to unbox this. Pretty nice. Here's the dongle. Looks very much like the Xbox One dongle. Got the dongle. Let's take a look at the controller. I went with the black one here. Yeah, I like the feel of it. Here's the buttons. It says Hall effect joysticks on it. It's got a couple of back buttons here and a turbo button in the back. Now the triggers. So the issue with the 8-bit Do controller is it's almost mirrored to the size and shape. It's Switch Pro controller styled, and the layout is very similar. It's almost as if they just copied the shell. The grip on here is a little bit less jarring on the 8-bit Do controller. The Anbernic controller, on the other hand, it's a little rougher on the texture. But, okay, so here's the thing. This thing, I got it for $22 on AliExpress, which is a fabulous deal. Can't go wrong with that. They don't specifically advertise Switch 2 support, so we're gonna see if this will work. Got your Hall effect, RGB joysticks, serial number. They come in black, purple, and white. It's got software, turbo and macro functions, and it's got a gyroscope, but it's in that same price bracket. This has more features for the dollar, in my opinion. We'll have to see how the durability and reliability is, though. Still got our little bumper buttons up here. Here's the 8-bit Do. Anbernic. Oh, what else is in the box? There's probably a USB cable. What do you know? USB cable. A little bit of a manual, too. So I really wanted this for my Steam Deck because it's got the dongle. I really don't like pairing Bluetooth devices to the Steam Deck. It's not as smooth and seamless as on a Switch. Having it work for both would be really nice. So let's plug it in and kind of charge it here, see what it does. And we got a charging indicator here. Home button powers it on. Switch, press pairing button for 2 seconds. It's hunting. Oh, look at that. Right away. Picked it up, and there's our RGB. Wow. Pretty neat. And of course, this is gonna be, you know, Switch layout, so you gotta remap A to B in your brain. These are not removable or adjustable. Really, a lot of these controllers at this point should just have faceless buttons. On the Steam Deck interface, it allows you to change that in the GUI. The buttons themselves still have AVXY. We could just do without that at this point. Totally working. Latency seems pretty okay as well. Not bad. Not bad at all. Oh, here's the gyroscope working. Look at that. So gyro aiming does work with this controller. I mean, for the price, it doesn't feel as good as my Xbox One controller does, but I mean, for 20 bucks, that ain't bad. Here's your RGB. I think that was like pulsing. This is just steady. That's red pulsing, red steady.
And so on and so forth, and what have you.
I'll throw a link in the description if you're interested in picking one of these up. So let's show a firmware update on a controller that currently isn't working. So that would be this 8BitDo SN30 Pro. Let's see if we can make it pair with the Switch 2. We're gonna see if we can do the firmware update. So what you're gonna wanna do, so just search up 8BitDo Switch 2 firmware update. I'll drop a link in the description as well. If you go to Google though, you get the upgrade tool button and they'll have some instructions on what to download here. Pretty straightforward. You just connect the device via USB, firmware update, pick your product obviously, and then let it do the thing. Now I've already downloaded the updater tool, so there's our 8BitDo firmware updater. I'll just drag this to the desktop real quick. And we'll launch the firmware updater. And we'll just run anyway. Alright, so it's at the point where it says connect 8BitDo device to PC via USB. So we'll take our device, we'll take USB, plug it in. Firmware update is ready. So let's click firmware update. Didn't even have to pick it, it just found it on its own. That's kind of cool. Reload. Maybe I have to choose it. This is kind of different than the other one. Maybe I should download a fresh copy because maybe this one is not so good. 2.50, there is an update. So maybe there isn't a firmware update for this. There's a manual mode, so maybe we need to disconnect and try that with this unit. I just found out that there is a button sequence you need to put the SN30 Pro into. Maybe I gotta try a different USB cable. Maybe this white cable from an Anker charger will work. It was acting like it was gonna do it. Okay, so I'm not crazy.
One eternity later.
So after much deliberation, I decided to cave into Mac OS. I found that they have a Mac OS download and it supports 10.13 or above. And I have an old Mac Mini that runs 10.15.7. Now I need a differently USB cable. I'm gonna use an 8BitDo one here. Oh, that might be why it's not working. It's gonna update it to 000. That's lame. Aha! There we go. 2025-0606. That's the one I want. Update. Okay, this is much further than I got before with Windows. L1, R1, and start. And let's see if it does it now. Oh my goodness. It's updating. And it updated to 1.26 to 2.06. So I downgraded it first to see if that would show up in Windows and it wouldn't do it. I had to go to the Mac version. What a bunch of junk. Well, let's go and test it over on the Switch 2 and see if it's working now. Change grip order. Y plus start. Maybe I gotta hold this button. Ah! There it is! Oh my goodness, there it is. So there you go. And it looks like the gyro is also working. Don't know why it doesn't want to work in Windows 11. Maybe I should have tried in Windows 10. Who knows? Worked in Mac OS 10.15. Now let's shift gears once again and let's take a look at these Switch 2 docks. So this one is a dock that shouldn't need any updating. It should just work. So let's crack it open. I'm going to set up my monitor here and then we'll get to testing this dock. Now that we've got the LePau set up, we have our HDMI, USB-C. Let's take a look at this dock. Now, they don't make any claims that this is going to work with anything else but the Switch 2. Switch 2 dock, S3 Max is the model. 5 volt, 3 amp, 9 volt, 3 amp, 15 volt, 3 amp, and 20 volt, 5 amp. Can do the 4K at 120. Probably show that at the end, hooking it up to a 4K display, just to see how it works. Not much else on the box. S3 Max, just a warning, and Switch 2 dock. Ah, there's a standard and a LAN model, it looks like. I didn't see that before. So no Ethernet jack on this dock, I'm assuming. There it is. Yeah, it is very lightweight. Just a single button here, HDMI port, USB-C for power in, and then a USB 3.0, USB 2.0 port. Yeah, no Ethernet on this dock. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but if you're gonna use this as like a secondary dock where you only have Wi-Fi and don't have wired Ethernet, then this might be the way you go. Let's test it though before I make claims that this is going to be a great dock. Check out the manual real quick here. Product specs and frequently asked questions. So feel free to pause the video if you want to look at any of this. Let's hook it up and test it. We'll undock our controllers here. Connected TV supports HDR. Let's do later. Oh, good lord, that doesn't look good. This monitor does not do HDR. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's outputting 1080p, 60 hertz. Oh, system screen. But it's doing HDR stuff, and I don't want it to. How about this? HDR output off. Oh, there we go. That's much better. Okay, so it was just that it'll do HDR if it's compatible, blah, blah, blah. Yes, okay, so that's just a Switch 2 problem. It's a simple dock, $35. Yeah, this ain't a bad buy. I mean, if you're just needing some sort of secondary dock just to get you something. Now, taking off the dock, you gotta do the two-hand thing because there's no release button. There's a little cutout in between the kickstand next to the USB-C port, and it kind of wedges in the little tab here. So the last part is obviously the AVerMedia dock. That didn't work before, so I'm going to switch over to that. And just as a little sidebar, I want to thank each and every one of you for helping me get to 1,000 subs. This is amazing. I couldn't have done it without you. I just want to thank all of you, my friends, my family, for helping me and supporting me to get to this point. And we're just going to keep going. We're going to continue on and see where this whole YouTube journey takes us. Anyway, so to celebrate 1,000 subscribers, we got Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm gonna live stream gameplay on the Switch 2. My wife, Nostalgic Vibes Gaming, we're going to do some Donkey Kong Bonanza gameplay and maybe some Mario Kart World, and we'll just answer some questions if you have any. If you don't, whatever. Just watch along. We'll stream for a little while and just have some fun. All right, so let's get back to the video. Oh my goodness, I complained about this in the last video. I'm so sorry, AVerMedia. I finally realized what this cutout is for. The cable has this 90-degree option, or right angle option, and it also has this Steam Deck style over the top 90-degree option. If you were to stick this in here, and then the number one side, if you stick it down in this channel, you can make it, you can convert it either way that you want it to be. So that's my bad. Sorry, Chris. Sorry. Let's just take a look at the Switch 2 and if that were to fit in here. plug it in first. Oh, look at that. It's holding up the Switch 2 real nice. Okay, yep, I'm dumb. Oh well, now we've learned. So we've got power there, but nothing's happening on screen. It's not even charging the Switch 2. Oh, it did say USB mic there for a second. So it's detecting something. Let's switch over back to the PC because we have a firmware update to run on this dock. We'll also make sure to throw in our TeamGroup SD card in that process. So let's do that right now. Recently, AVerMedia put out this post that there's Nintendo Switch 2 compatibility, beta firmware and software now available. The beta versions of the software and firmware on this page are intended only for users experiencing issues with the Switch 2. I'm on the bleeding edge, man. I want to get it all, so let's download it. So it's for the X'Tra Go GC515, which is one of these. The W at the end just means white, which is what this color is. Okay, I don't know if AVerMedia is gaslighting me, but I installed 1.16, and now they're saying that 1.15 is the right version. I don't know. I am gonna update it again. Okay, update says it finished, and it's to 1.15 now, which is lower in number to me than 16, but okay. And I'm gonna plug in this card, and we'll stick this sucker in. Alright, now we have a U3 V30 card. Let's go test this out and see if the Switch 2 works with it. USB-C, power, HDMI in here. Okay, it's blinking. We'll stick it back in, and then we'll plug it into here. Okay, let's try it. Let's test if this will actually record footage. Okay, now the light is blinking red after I click the one touch button. Before it didn't. So maybe we'll get a little footage. So we'll play for a couple more minutes here and see what happens. Hey, look at that. We have footage. I really miss the ability to summon your horse from literally anywhere that Breath of the Wild had. 'Tis not I playing. Well, it was me, but just a few minutes ago. So there we go. It's working. This is awesome. So we have a Steam Deck dock. We have a Switch 2 dock. Possibly still Switch 1 dock. Let's make sure the Steam Deck still works on this. It's blinking. Still works with the Steam Deck. Yeah, I was gonna grab my Switch thinking, oh, I'll just test it real quick, but I'm in Android mode. Oh, now it's rebooting. Okay, it's still booting up, but I'm impatient, so. Oh my goodness. It's already working. Yep. Okay, let's confirm regular Switch mode for the unbelievers. Now let's dock it. That was fast. Fast negotiation. No screen. And there's screen. Switch it to that mode. Hit record. Now we're recording the home screen. It's working. It is totally working. So there you go. That's so loud. We have a working AVerMedia dock that will record to everything. This dock has just become my new favorite thing. That's pretty sweet. We got Steam Deck, Switch 2, Switch 1, and all these third-party accessories working. The one final thing we could test is if that Switch 2 dock will do 4K 60, which I don't think it wouldn't, but we'll test it out. Well, now I don't know what to believe. So this dock said nothing about the Switch 1 working with it. They said it shouldn't work with the Switch 1. Now, physically it can't because that tab in the back is wider than the tab on the Switch 1. So I just used one of these little USB A to C extensions. Immediately my Switch 1 went over and hooked up, and it's working. So I really don't know what to believe. Now it did just cut out there for a second, but you know, my connections here might be a little flaky. That monitor likes to cut out. I might have half a mind to just trim that piece in the back so that the Switch 1 can fit on there. This dock is working for more than I bargained for. Where's my Steam Deck? No problem. Steam Deck works too. So there you go. This dock gives you more than you bargained for. $35. Not too bad. Run all the switches. 1s, 2s, probably the OLED. I don't have one, but... And Steam Deck. This is the dock to have now. Let's do the 4K test with the Switch 2. Let's make sure that works. Welcome to the bedroom setup with the 4K TCL TV. We'll fire it up here. This is our retro console area. I got a CRT, SNES, PlayStation 1. Back here we've also got a PlayStation Classic. The original Xbox lives back here. So this is where we come to get away from the children. We got the Switch 2 power adapter here. And we've got the new SiWiQu, whatever. Letters, alphabet soup. This is a dock. It's got a blue light on the front. Gonna hook it up. And now we're gonna see if the Switch 2 shows up. Okay, it's on. And we're docking. It's thinking. Hey, there it is. All right. And let's confirm that we're in 4K. Full HD. So 1440p is not an option, but 4K is. There we go. It's outputting 4K 60. There we go. Yeah, that looks upscaled. No problem for this dock. Now, some have said that they have concerns about the cooling on it because it doesn't have the fan that the Switch 2 dock has. But I think what a lot of people were really finding out is that the Switch 2 might actually just heat up that dock, the stock dock, and that's why it's got a fan. And that fan was just to keep itself cool, the dock, and not so much to keep the Switch 2 cool. So the Switch 2 has plenty of open space on that dock, as you can see from how it's set up on it. So zero issue with that. I am thrilled seeing this working here. Not gonna lie, this is pretty awesome for a $35 dock. Now, you gotta bring your own power adapter, but if you check Slick Deals, there's always a GAN charger at 65 watts or 100 watts for $20 to $30 or less even. So just keep your eye out for one of those, and you might even have something laying around already. Who knows? There's even cheaper ones if you buy older, bulky, non-GAN ones. You could get like a Dell laptop USB-C charger for probably cheaper than 20 bucks. So, third-party accessories are working. Just had to give it about a month and a half, 2 months from the Switch 2 release, the debut, and we've got firmware updates. We've got stuff working out of the box. It's really great to see. So anyway, that's the video for today. Hope you liked it. If you liked it, be sure to like and subscribe. And again, thank you for 1,000 subscribers. Be sure to tune in, do a little live stream gaming of Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart World. Just kind of have some chill time. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. God bless. Have a great week.